Okay, so this is now the border that we're going to do on our armholes. One thing that you need to remember when you're doing your armhole is that when you are picking up your stitches, and I'm going to show you how to do it, when you're picking them up over here, you don't want to pick up too many. It depends on the stitch that you do, but especially if you do double crochet, you want to have them pretty far apart from each other, because otherwise this ends up being incredibly loose. So rather lean on the side of picking up less stitches than more. It'll bring this in a little bit, but you're better off doing it that way. Those are just some little tips. I tried to play with a lot of borders and none of them worked except for this one. So when you're making your own garment, funny, I've got so many books on crocheting edges and none of the edges work for me. So I end up, in all of my garments, I end up making up my own edging. So whatever works. But this one is a very simple stitch to do, so I'll show you how to do it. And then when you're coming in right under your arm here, generally you're going to decrease, and yeah, I'll show you how to do that. I decreased, you can hardly even see it, but there's a decrease and there's a decrease over here, because otherwise you end up with this being very wide under here and it doesn't look good. But it worked out well. I mean, you would probably, I don't think I've actually made a garment with a sleeve all the way from the top, but you would have to decrease until you got it to the size that you wanted. So you just decrease, and then you would just do your normal thing. But anyway, we don't have to worry about that. So let me show you how to do this. The front is very similar. It's doing the same thing here, but I'll show you how to do that later. And I put a bit of a twist on the front by just adding this to make it look a little frillier. And you know what, if you can find a better border, you're welcome to use yours, you know. But I'm going to show you now how to do it. As I say, you want to pick up less stitches than more. Now what I did was I like to start by the underarm, because you're not going to see where you decrease, because it's right under your arm, so it just makes more sense to start there. So my garment is the right way facing, this is the right way that you would wear it. So that's how I'm starting off with my stitch. Sometimes you would start off your stitch with it being on the wrong side, but for this particular one we're starting with it on the right side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into I want to give you the best view. So let me see if I remove all of this, then you can see better. Alright, so I'm going to start right in the middle here. Let me scoot you in a little bit and see. So I'm starting right in the middle, and you're going to pick up your stitches here. So let me just grab my yarn. Okay, so we're going to come in here and I'm just going to start my stitch. This is the way I start my stitch. I just put a slip knot on, and then I come in here and I just pull up and go through there, and then it's very secure. This isn't going anywhere. So now what you want to do, as I say, you're going to pick up less than you're going to pick up more. Now my other side, I picked up 44 stitches. You will want to remember how many you pick up on the one side. And as I say, this is free form. I'm not giving you specific instructions because you're designing this garment yourself. So mine is 44 stitches. If you're doing yours exactly the same as mine, you would pick up 44. If you're not, just however many you need to make your armhole band sit comfortably and look flat. You don't want it all scrunchy by adding too many, or you don't want it too tight by putting too few in. So it's a bit of a judgment call here. There's no, I can't tell you, you know, exactly, but you're just gonna have to practice, and if you have to pull it out, you have to pull it out. I had to pull my first lot out, so because I had too many on. So it's just something that you're going to practice. Anyway, let's get started. Now all I'm going to do is single crochet by picking up stitches. So I'm going to chain one to make this stitch number 1. Now you've got a pretty big gap here, so I think it's in order that I put 2 in here. I could go in this one, but because I'm trying to get less stitches in, I'm going to skip that. And I'm just going to go, so I've got 1, 2, and then this is number 3. Sorry, I'm wanting to do something else. 3, then I'm going to go in here, 4, 5, I'll go in there 6, and as you can see they kind of spread out. You know, you don't, all it's going to do is, if you're going too far, is you're going to scrunch it in more. But as long as it looks okay and you've got a fairly good gap, I think you'll be all right. So that's 6, 7. All of these could have 2, but not all of them. I didn't do it in all of them. And if you find you're coming around here, you don't have to have it exactly the same, like 5 exactly in this spot and 5 in this spot. Just kind of do it and look once you've done it and see if it looks all right. So now I forget how many I've got on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. Whoops. 9. I'm going to go in here 10. In fact, I'm going to go in here 10. That's 11. 12. Another good way, let me just do this, 12, 13, 14, 15. Let me just stop on 15, and I want to show you something else that will help. Another good way for you to do it is you could halve this. Okay, so this is my half, and this is, so there's the top of my garment here, and there's the bottom. So you could say, okay, this is half, so by the time I get up to here, I need the same amount of stitches going down this half, if you know what I'm saying. So you go up to the top, and then if it looks all right, or you could even go in quarters and say, okay, I do this piece, or this is half of my, I don't really know if you understand what I'm saying. This is, from there to there is half of your armhole. Okay, so you could even halve that, and then say, okay, from here to here. So you don't have to do the whole thing to see if your stitches are right. You can go from there to there and say, okay, see, this looks pretty good. It's not pulling too much, and it's not too much. So that is a pretty good guide. And so you can just halve it like that. It's just another tip. But otherwise, just keep doing it, and you can see at the end. Okay, let me just show you another little trick. I've got 10 stitches left. I've got 34, and I've got to go to 44, so I've got another 10 stitches left. And to kind of space it out and see, you can generally count. Let's see if I put another one in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so these are going to have to be a little bit closer. So you can just generalize. I'm going to put another one in here. 1, and I'll go here. Let's go there. 1, 2, scoot you in a little closer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've still got another 4, so 6. We'll have to put another one in here. That's 7. I'll have to put another one. 8. I can go here. 9 and 10. So you see how you work it out. You just kind of play with that. Okay, so you've got all your stitches now, and you're going to just slip stitch into this first chain that we had made. You're going to just slip stitch through it, and then that's the, now you're going to start off with your beginning row. You shouldn't have to place a marker or anything here, because you're going to see where your beginning of your row is. Now with this stitch, we're doing a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, chain 2, and you're missing a stitch in between. So to start off, you can't start off with a double crochet, so you're going to do 3 chain, which stands as your first double crochet, and then you've got to do your 2 chain that are in between your double crochet. So when I come back with this round, I will be joining 1, 2, 3 in this stitch over here. When I'm finished with this row, that's where you join over there. And there's your 2 that's in between. It's quite smart the way it works. It'll be like that. So you probably know that, but I thought I'd just give you an extra little tip there. So now we've got our chain 2 in between, so you're going to skip 1 chain. So that's the one I went into. You're going to skip this one, and you're going to go into this one with a double crochet. Now don't get yourself so concerned about, oh my goodness, what if I've gone in the wrong stitch. As long as it looks alright, you're going to be okay. Or if you've got too few chain, we'll work it out. You can work it out somewhere. That's one thing that I've learned, is I fix my work as I go. Chain 2, and then you're going to skip this one and go into this one. You can always fix your crochet work as long as it looks fine and it doesn't look messy. There are a lot of tricks that you can do. So we're just getting like a little square here. So chain 2, skip this one, that's the one I went into, skip the next one, and you're going to go into this stitch, and this is all that you're going to do all the way around. Chain 2, miss that one, go into this one, double crochet into there, chain 2, skip this one and go into your next one. Now just do that all the way around. If I find that I have got too few or too many or whatever, I won't have too many, but if I've got too few, I don't think I do, but if I did, I can show you how to rectify it here. I mean, obviously, if you had one too many chain, you would just ignore that one and come over here, because our first row we're not decreasing for under the armhole. So finish doing this row all the way around. I'm going to finish mine, and I'm going to come back and meet you. Now I'm glad that this has happened, because now I can show you what I'm talking about, a bit of a judgment call that you have to make. I've come to the end of my armhole, the end of this first row by the armhole, and I'm having to go in this stitch. Okay, now you can see I've got 1, 2 stitches, which is perfect if this was just the normal stitch. I did my chain 2 and I would go in here. Okay, but now look how close I am to this stitch, which if I'm just doing a regular, if I'm doing this stitch say in a scarf or something, I would have to have counted my stitches properly if I was doing that, but because this is free form, this is where I'm going to make a judgment call. See, when you're following a pattern, you got to do exactly what they say, because otherwise your next row is not going to be correct. But that's why I'm saying, if you've made a mistake in this with the free form, it's wonderful, you can just fix it. One thing just to remember is keep a little notebook. I keep this notebook with all my little scribblings in it of what I did on one side. Mine's a bit messy, so I'm not going to show you, but write down what you did on the one side. For example, I know I did 44 stitches on the one armhole going up and 44 coming down. You want to just have a general idea of what you did on the one side. It doesn't have to be to the letter of the law, but it will help you. So just take note. Now this is what it looks like if I did it that way. But remember, I said we are decreasing under the arm here. So my judgment call for this is not to go with the stitch where it adds on an extra stitch. Because I'm trying to decrease this lot, I might as well just go straight from here and go into here. And yes, I've got 2 instead of 1 in between, but it's not going to really matter, you're not going to see it. So let's see what it looks like this way. So you would just slip stitch straight into there. Yeah, see, it's not bad. It's a slightly wider one, but it's under the armhole, so it's not really going to be seen, and I don't really want to make more stitches here. My scenario is to go with the smallest, less stitches, because I'm trying to decrease. So I don't know if that's helping you, but I'm hoping so, because that's just one instance where you've got to make a judgment call, and it's going to depend on what you have. Now if you had 3, you wouldn't be able to do that, you'd have too much of a gap. But look, you're not going to notice the difference. No one's going to say lift your arm up so I can see. So as long as it looks good, you want to go with it. If it doesn't look good, I don't keep it. If it doesn't look good, I take it out, because it's going to really bother me. This looks good, so we're going to leave it as it is. And now when we do our next rounds, we're going to be decreasing 2 stitches on each side. So I'm going to get rid of these 2 and these 2 to bring it in, so you're not going to notice that stitch at all. So let me show you how to do the decrease. So to decrease on this round, which is row 2 on this, you're going to chain 5 like you usually do, and you're going to do your double crochet. Now to decrease in a double crochet, this is the way that you would do it, and you're doing it exactly the same way, except you're going behind the post. This is the stitch that's called, I don't even know what it's called now, but you're going behind your post. It gives you like a cable, a rib, so you can use it in cable crocheting and in ribs. It looks like a rib in knitting. So you're going to go behind the post, and I'll show you now. So you're going to wrap your yarn around and you're going to come this way. Okay, so there's your double crochet. Usually we would go in here, we would go in there, but not for this stitch. You're going behind, and then you're going to wrap your yarn around and just do a normal double crochet, except we're decreasing. So to decrease now, you're going to do half your double crochet, so you still have 2 left on your hook. Then you're going to wrap your yarn around, come behind this stitch, come through, go through 2, and now we're going to get rid of all 3 of these. And see, you've just decreased, you've made that stitch become 1 stitch. It's not hard. I'm going to show you again when I come back at the end. If you struggle, just replay it, and and then you'll pick up what to do. So now we're going to continue with the stitch. You're going to chain 2, and instead of doing the normal double crochet, this is a normal double crochet, but you're going behind your stitch, and then you're doing double crochet. Chain 2, you're going to go behind your stitch, and just a normal double crochet, and then chain 2, coming behind your stitch, and chain 2, and it gives you this kind of a pattern. That's the back of your stitch. Gives you a bit of a ridge there, but this is the part that we will be seeing. So you just keep doing that. Chain 2, yarn over, go in there, bring your yarn through. So it's just a normal double crochet. All you're doing differently to this double crochet is you're going behind the post. This is called your post. You're going behind your post. So keep doing this all the way around, and I will meet you back here to show you how to decrease on this side. So I'm just about at the end of my first row here, and I wanted to show you. I've got 3 posts standing here. Now I need to decrease these 2. So I'm going to go into this one and do a normal double crochet behind the post there and chain 2. Now these are the 2, so I'm going to show you how to decrease this again. So you're going to wrap your yarn around, go behind the 1, and do half of your double crochet. So you've got 2 left. Wrap your yarn around and go through the other one. Go through 2, and then you've still got 3 remaining, and you're going remaining, and you're going to go through those. Now you've got 2 chains still to do, and then you're going to go into the 3rd one over here, and we should look good. Plus you've decreased, so let's see what our end result is. Yeah, see, and it looks good. You won't even notice it. And this is where you did your slightly bigger hole, and you can, I know that it's there, but no one else will. And as I say, when it's behind your, under your arm, you're not going to notice it at all. Okay, so this is your last row. I'm only doing these few rows for the underarm. I don't need more. Now you're going to do exactly the same thing as you did on the row before. We're going to do our chain 5, and then we're going to get rid of these 2 posts. So I'm going to wrap my yarn around, and even though this is a decrease already, I'm just decreasing on it here. If you do a lot more rows, you might have to come up with a different kind of pattern. It might look alright. I haven't tried, but we're not doing more rows, so you don't have to concern yourself with that. So I've just decreased that one, chain 2, and you're going to do the same thing as you did on the row before. Just going to keep doing this, and behind your post, and I'm going to continue with my row, and I'll come back, I'll meet you back here, and we're going to decrease the same thing. We'll be decreasing this one and this one, and that will be it. Then we should be done, and our armhole should look wonderful. Now I've come here and I've got 1, 2, 3 left again. One thing with this stitch, I just want to show you where your second stitch, where your stitch is that you're working with. It is this one here. When you just have it together like this, it's kind of hard to see where your stitch is. See how flat they lie. Once you've made your second row, they don't lie as flat. But that was the first one that you went around. This is your second one. So pull it apart a little bit and you'll see very clearly where your post is. This is where your post is. So you're going to go behind this one. Don't go behind the same one. You can see it's wrong if you go too far down. It's this stitch right over here. It's the second post that you've made. Alright, so that was the third one. Now we have got 2 left, the one that we decreased on and this one, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Yarn around your hook, behind this one, go through 2 loops. Yarn around the hook, go through both of these, bring your yarn up, through 2, and now you've got to finish your stitch, so you'll go through all 3 of these. And I've just made my other decrease, chain 2, and slip stitch in the 3rd chain, 1, 2, 3. And this should, if I get in there, this should complete your, I like to go through 2 loops here. This should complete your underarm. Let's see if it's decreased nicely for us here. See, it's coming nicely and you don't really see it, and once again it's going to be under your arm, so no one's going to say, hey, just lift up your arm and let me see how you did your decreases. It looks good, looks wonderful, you don't notice it, it's brought your sleeve in, and that's what you wanted. See, it's brought it in beautifully over here, and it's been a gentle decrease, not the sudden decrease, and that's how you do this, the armhole. Now what I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you how to do the front, and we will start on that. It's similar to this, basically the same, but it's got a little bit added on here. So let's get started with that. Okay, so now for your front, what you're going to do is you're going to go, you're going to do exactly the same thing. You're going to pick up your stitches. I've done mine because I've shown you how to do it on the one side. But all you're going to do is pick up your stitches like you did on the other one. And once again, you rather want it to be a little bit more space between your stitches than not. Mine, I did 106 going up all the way to the shoulder. Took me 106 stitches. Now for this, same thing, you're going to start on the right hand, the right of your work. Start with your work facing you. This is the right side, and you're going to start with it facing you. And you're going to do your single crochet like you did the armhole, exactly the same thing. Pick up your stitches all the way. And as I said, I went up to the shoulder. It was 106 stitches. Then for my neck, you're doing the same thing all the way around. For the neck, I did 36 stitches for my neck. You just go all the way around, 36 there, and then coming back down to where my shoulder was, I went all the way down with another 106. So that's quite a lot of stitches, and this is quite a bit. Now, the difference between this and my armhole is that the armhole I was going in the round. This now is going straight up and down. So you're going to do exactly the same thing. You did your stitches and you're going to come up, you're going to chain 5, skip a stitch, go into with a double crochet, go in there, chain 2, skip a stitch, double crochet in there, chain 2, miss a stitch, double crochet, exactly the same. This is the same thing as your armhole. If you're unsure, rewatch the armhole and you're doing exactly the same thing. You're going to go all the way around and then you're going to come to this part over here. Then you're going to do the same thing. You're just going to turn around. You're doing exactly the same thing. You're going to go, this is the other row, but I'll show you. You did your stitches there, your chain 2, go behind your post, and now for this, chain 2, and depending on where you end, you should have the same amount of stitches you would have picked up if you hadn't before. Like we did with the armhole, you would have either had 2 or 1 here. As long as you keep an even number of stitches when you're adding on. So that's why I've got 106, I've got 36 and 106. That keeps me an even number, because this is every second chain that you're going into, so you want an even number. Now I need to find the third chain, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to simply go, okay, this is, I did try it another way, but you are going to go with a double crochet in here. If you're tempted to try and do a post behind here, this is what it looks like. It's not bad, you can. you can do it there, but it's once again, it's your judgment call. I did this because I think for me it works a little better, makes it a bit more secure. I just did a double crochet in this third one instead of behind the post. I went in there and did my double crochet. So I did, okay, and you one row there, and then I did one behind the post. Okay, so we did our normal row where you did chain, double crochet, chain 2, miss 1, go double crochet, chain 2. Then I came around and I went behind the post. Okay, so I did one row. I needed one row going behind the post. Just remember that, because it doesn't work row by row. See, if now I go on to my next row, so I hope I haven't lost you. Just do one row behind the post like you did with your armhole. Your armhole, you did 2 rows. You did your first row normal, and then you went behind the post, and then the second row you went behind the post. This second row is not going to work for us. If we were in the round, it works, because you can see there all your ridges go to the back. But because of this way, because I'm having to turn my work around, it's not working. And I mean, if you like the look, you can do it by all means, but you have one ridge here, and then you're going to have a ridge facing your work, which is, I didn't want that. So all that I'm going to do now for this row, this is where once again you use your judgment and say, okay, what is best for me to do? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to chain 3, and I'm going to slip stitch in this space, and I'm going to chain 3, I'm going to slip stitch in the same space, I'm going to chain 3, and I'm going to slip stitch in the same space. And this is giving me a little bit of a kind of flowery look. Then in your next space over here, your very next one, see, that's the one I worked in, there's your next space. I'm just going to do a slip stitch, and then I'm going to slip stitch into the next space, and I'm going to do the same thing, chain 3 in your slip stitch in your same space, chain 3, slip stitch in the same space, chain 3, slip stitch in the same space. So you're doing that 3 times, and then you're going to have the space in between with a single crochet. So now I'm going to do a single crochet in here, and then I do a single crochet in the next one, really just to get me there, and then I'm doing the same flower thing, chain 3, single crochet in the same space, chain 3, single crochet in the same space, chain 3, single crochet in the same space, and that's given me that. And this is, now this is the wrong side of the work because of the way we are, but this is what it's going to look like on your front side. It's just a very different border. You know, you can do any border that works for you. For me now, this is also where you're going to have to make a judgment call. I've got enough place to work that I can have a pretty big border. If you don't have enough place, in other words, you made your design pretty big, so it's closing, it's tying in the front with not a lot of space, you're not going to be able to have such a big border. Mine has a lot of space, and I tend to do that because I like to put a border in. I like something different. If you don't, leave this part out. You could just do this part, you could just do single crochets all along. You'll have to come up with a different idea, something very simple that's not going to take, this is quite a big border, but I need the bigger border for my actual garment. If you don't need it, as I say, just maybe just do the squares all the way, or you can just do double crochets, you know, you can just use a simple stitch, or in fact you could just do this stitch. You could just do your squares, and then instead of doing this one row behind the post, just go in your square here, do this stitch here. So there are different ways for you to work out what is going to work the best for you. As I say, it's going to be your call as to what you want to do and how much space you have. I reckon everybody's garment's going to look a little bit different because of the way we've made it, you know. And so this is all that you're going to do now. You're going to just do your chain 3 and single crochet in the same space. As you see, I've gone in the same space for those 3. And you find your next space, single crochet in there, your next space, single crochet in that space, and in this very same space, this is where you're doing your chain 3, single crochet, chain 3, single crochet, chain 3, single crochet. So you do that all the way around, and you go all the way up around your neck, and you do this all the way to the end. Edging right at the bottom of my work, this is the bottom part that's hanging down towards the floor. For this, I'm just going to do a pretty simple stitch all the way around, and I'm going to start off in this little section here. Now you can see these are the spaces that I'm going to be working in, each one of these. This is the bottom of your work. I'm going to have to use these 2 as 1. These 2 are going to be used as 1 because it's much the same length as this, and I don't want to squeeze 2 of my shells in here. So we're going to start off with a chain 1 simply because it's the first row. Then I'm going to do, so we're going to be doing your stitches in the sizes that they are. Single crochet, half a double, then you're doing a double crochet, and then you're going to do a treble. Then I'm going to do another treble. So the only one that's doubled is your treble, and it's just because I want to make my height a little higher. Then you're going to go back downwards. You're going to do a double crochet, a half a double, and a single crochet. And that's what's giving you your shell over there. So let's do it again. And if you understand what I'm saying by your stitch progression, you're going in height. Single crochet is the smallest, as you can see. Then your half a double is slightly taller, your double is taller, and your treble is the tallest. And then you're just going back the same way, double crochet, half, and your single crochet. So we'll do our single crochet in there. Then you're going to do your half a double, then you're going to do your double crochet, and then you're going to do your 2 trebles. That's 1, 2 trebles, and you're going to go backwards again. So you got to do your double crochet, your half a double, and your single crochet. If you have to write them down, write them down. I remember them because I've done this so many times. Each one of these spaces, and it just finishes it off nicely. Just gives it a bit of a border. You don't have to put any border. You could leave yours as it is, but I prefer to just doll mine up a little bit and have it look just that little bit. You do that all the way around, and I don't think your end, I think your end is going to be like this. It depends on what you did, but it should end the same, and I should be able to be going in this one over here. And then, okay, this is slightly different, but just use these 2 as 1. So just put your shell into those 2 like you did in the beginning, and you should be good to go. Well, I hope that this video has helped you, and I would love if you can show me a picture of what you've made. I would love to see it, but I hope to see you in my next video. Thanks for joining me. Bye.